Hi everybody. So since 2019 has just started, it seems like a good time to review what was achieved by our academic program last year and share our plan for 2019 with you. And this includes our intern program, which I'll talk about specifically a little later. But I think first we have a poll question. So the poll question is, our academic program contributes to the success of the HPCC Systems open source project in many ways. Which of the following do you think is the most valuable? And there are 4 answers to choose from, and Jessica will announce the results at the end of my talk. So my aim today is to show the widely collaborative nature of this program, which I think is the secret of its success, while showcasing some of the opportunities provided and the mutual benefits achieved. So looking at this first slide, you can see that in total we partnered with 17 academic institutions in 2018, mostly in the US, but we also have a presence in Germany at Humboldt University in Berlin, in the UK at Imperial College London, and also in India at the RV College of Engineering. Our academic program also reaches across the academic spectrum. There are 2 high school students on this list, American Heritage School and NSU University School, both located in Florida. You can also see that we supported many initiatives involving machine learning and data analytics, and interest in this area is also reflected by the fact that half of our intern projects focused on this area in 2018. There are a number of ways we support our academic partners. We provide grants. The grant we provided to American Heritage High School in Florida, for example, has helped them to develop and extend their robotics program for high school students. Ty Donovan, the director of this program, spoke at our conference in 2018 about how being part of the academic program and being involved in our community enabled him to develop the idea of adapting their autonomous golf cart to becoming an autonomous agricultural robot as a result of hearing about and later meeting some of our LexisNexis colleagues from ProAgrica and Adaptris who have industry knowledge that was useful to them. And a student from this school also joined our intern program in 2018. We also run workshops designed to provide students interested in big data analytics with practical experience using HPCC systems, ETL processes, and machine learning capabilities to extract meaningful answers to questions from a data set. And these workshops often help to reinforce their coursework. But we also help universities to enhance their computer science and data analytics curriculum in other ways. So at Kennesaw State University, we have funded a scholarship program for talented students who may need extra financial support. And we've also set up a certification program in high-performance computing and big data analytics, which leverages HPCC systems. Our contribution to the Head Center at Humboldt University in Berlin, in collaboration with our Elsevier project partners, has been supporting the Head Center in their work which looks at how to scale computing infrastructure and algorithms while maintaining efficiency. And they also have a second project which is focusing on establishing data integrity. So now you have an idea of some of the ways we have supported our academic partners in 2018. So let's look at the plan for 2019. You'll see some familiar names showing on for 2019, and this shows our continued support of some of those universities also included on our 2018 list. And there are also some new ones. So you'll see on there Oxford University, and we have kickstarted this collaboration by holding a big data analytics workshop in one of the lecture theatres at their Mathematical Institute. And we're also working towards supporting a PhD research project using machine learning to predict trading behaviour in financial markets on the stock exchange. And this project promises to be a very interesting use case. We have another workshop coming up in February at the University of Georgia, and there's the potential for others in coming months. Hackathons are also becoming a regular feature for us. Last year, we worked with one of our industry partners, DataSeers, to provide a FinTech challenge for the Kennesaw State University Hackathon, and we're looking forward to being part of this event again in 2019. We will also be continuing to support the work of PhD students who are working alongside professors on research projects shown by the column on the far right-hand side. A start-to-finish commitment of up to 4 years is needed for these collaborations, and during that time we may provide help with a range of different types of support, from finding data sets, arranging access to a cluster for testing, and checkpoint meetings with colleagues who have expertise in the subject area or technical knowledge, and so on. And incidentally, we're collecting together a list of papers that have been published as a result of support from our academic program, and this list is growing as we continue to add to it and extend our academic program. So now we have looked at some examples of how our academic program operates in practice. Let's look at the positive impact the academic program has on our open source project generally. At least these are some things I thought of. Students extend their knowledge, we extend ours based on their use of our system, and also by the contributions they make, either from highlighting issues or suggestions based on their creative use of our system, and more directly from those students who join our intern program. Our system was built specifically for processing and analysing big data fast and efficiently, and it's open source, and we want to spread the word that it is there so others can take advantage of it, and we want people to be able to use it alongside other products. One of our students is currently looking into using it alongside TensorFlow, for example. Like I said at the beginning, it's a wonderfully collaborative affair, not just between us and the many academic institutions we support, but also from within our own organisation. Many of our colleagues from across the RELX family support us at events, workshops, hackathons, on calls, providing mentoring and support, and helping us in our outreach to new universities as we continue to grow our academic program. And the last item on the list is a nice leader into the intern program. But before we move on, I just want to flash up some useful links you can use to find out more about our academic program. So if you want to know more about the program itself and how to become part of it, you can visit our website. You can also visit our website to watch and listen to various of our academic partners speaking about their HPCC systems experience by going and having a look at the case studies. You can subscribe to our newsletter to keep up to date with news and events, and read our blog. The latest entry is from our 5 Questions With series, as Flavia mentioned earlier, which features Amy Apon from Clemson University, which is a happy coincidence given that part of her testimonial is also shown on this slide. You can also browse the list of academic papers I mentioned earlier using our wiki, which, as Jessica mentioned, is now available from our website via one of the drop-down menus. And if you're a student or an academic who doesn't see theirs on the list, then please tell us and we will add it for you. And finally, there are the details of the person to contact if you want to ask questions or know more about the program. So now let's take a quick look at the intern program. This is part of our academic program, and it's designed to give an immersive experience for students interested in a career in coding and data science. Application is by submitting a project proposal to complete a project from our list of available projects, which is available on our student wiki, which you can get to from the website, as I just mentioned. Half of the projects completed in 2018 were machine learning related, 4 were related to improvements or adding features to the platform, and 1 student worked alongside a business-facing team. We had 4 master's students, 4 PhD students, 1 undergraduate, and 1 high school student joined the program last year. 2 of our students presented at our Community Day events in October. 1 was on the main stage, 1 was in the breakout sessions, and 8 of our students were available to enter our poster contest showcasing their project work. These posters were all of a very high standard, And if you haven't seen them and would like to see them, you can read my fly on the wall article about this event in the blog area of our website. 2 students were hired from the program this year. Students aren't always ready to be hired when they intern with us. Sometimes they're continuing on with their studies, and they may choose to intern with us again in subsequent years. And in fact, one of the students we had this year had completed her 3rd internship with us in 2018. Each student has at least one mentor, and this year we welcomed a number of professors to the program to co-mentor alongside our LexisNexis colleagues. So now I'm going to show you the list of projects that was completed last year. All our students presented a tech talk about their project, so if you want to learn more, you can go back to the recordings and listen to each one of them. There's a link on this slide that you can access after the event if you go back into this tech talk and look at the slides, and it will take you straight through to the place where you need to be. So the first project shown was completed by the student who was working on a business-related project. The next 4 were platform-related projects, and the final 5 machine learning-related projects. And the red asterisks show those projects which were entered into our poster competition. And I've already said there's a blog, you can go and look at those, the images of their posters and read a little bit about them. So now I just want to talk a little bit about what the experience is like for students who may be watching, or for those who may know someone who might be interested in the program, and for academics who may be looking at our program for the students that they have working with them. So students can work remotely or from an office. It's according to their preference. They get mentor support throughout. In fact, mentor support can actually start from the minute a student starts to work on their proposal. We always recommend that students email the project mentor to express an interest, ask questions and discuss ideas. Generally, we think this makes for a more well-rounded proposal, and it also initiates the building of the relationship. From a pastoral perspective, we place a huge amount of emphasis on communication, hence the weekly report and evaluations which help us to make sure everyone is on track and is happy, or to establish opportunities for further training and so on. These are in addition to the communication schedule agreed between the student and mentor. There are many ways that students can become involved in our community during the internship, and I'm going to come on to that in a second. I have a slide specifically showing you those ways. And students are contributing to a production-ready open source big data platform, and they're working alongside the team who develops it. So it's a really great opportunity. We think students want these sorts of experiences as they're thinking ahead towards their future career, and it's important for us to keep a very clear eye on the next generation of talented developers and data scientists. So these are the ways that students can get involved in our community while they're interning with us. I mentioned earlier that all our interns presented a tech talk. 8 were available to enter posters in our contest. 2 presented at our summit. And you can also see here there's a GitHub pull request from one of our students. Some of our students have also helped us at events by being available to talk to prospective interns about their own experience on the program, which is always a really great thing for other students to hear about. So some details about the program this year. The proposal period is open. It's been open a little while. The deadline for proposals is the 29th of March, and we have already received some. So I urge any students thinking about applying to get right on with it. Take a look at our list and get in touch to let us know you are interested. And as I said earlier, contact the mentor and work through your ideas before submitting your proposal to me. We are actively looking for more mentors, particularly those with experience of using machine learning. So if you would like to mentor a student on this program, please do get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. And I wanted to just mention that we did something at our conference this year that we hadn't done previously. We held an academic meet and greet after the poster contest. And it was really lovely to be able to bring together the students, the professors, and the mentors, some of whom were meeting in person for the first time. So if you know someone who would be interested in applying, please recommend them to us. Give them our contact details, or give them the link to the site, get them to take a look, and ask them to get in touch. So now I want to show you a snapshot of the projects that are available this year, but please refer to the full list because I couldn't fit them all on this slide. You can see there are quite a range across a number of different areas, and remember, you can suggest a project of your own, but it must leverage HPCC systems in some way and be of use to our open source community, either because it involves contributing an enhancement or a new feature, or because it presents an interesting use case. If you plan to go down this route, please let us know, because we would still like to link you up with a colleague who can mentor you through this. Here are some ways you can find out more information about the Intern program itself. You can read my blog about the program, which tells you everything you need to know and provides links to the project list, proposal guidelines, and also a link to an example proposal which might help you get started. You can also find out about projects completed by students in previous years to get an idea of what you can expect. And I've already mentioned the poster contest several times and the tech talks, and there are links on this page that will take you to the places so you can find out more. And you can always email me for more information or to ask questions. So now, to close, I think we have one last poll question, which is, much has been made of the gender gap in the technology industry. Take a guess what the gender mix was on our intern program in 2018. And while you're thinking about that, I want to close by saying that it's a really great experience to be involved with our academic program, which grows year on year. So if you'd like to join it or get involved in some way, do let us know using the contact details I've supplied in my presentation. And I'm going to hand back to Jessica now for the results of the poll.
All right, thank you, Lorraine. So while you take a quick peek at the questions from our audience, and it looks like we have several actually, I'm going to take a quick look at your first poll. And your question was, our academic program contributes to the success of the HPCC Systems open source project in many ways. And which of the following do you think is the most valuable? And arguably, Lorraine, all four of your options are extremely valuable. It looks like our number one winner at 45% was access to potential employees with coding and data analytics skills, which is certainly true for LexisNexis and Relics as well. 36% has say access to leading edge knowledge and research, which is certainly true, and especially having seen the presentations from our interns, they are just simply outstanding. 18% say real-world use case scenarios for HPCC systems, and unfortunately nobody picked contributions to the code base, although we know clearly that happens as a result of all the work that's happened. All right, Lorraine, are you ready for your questions?
Sure, I am. I just wanted to say there was no correct answer to that. I was just interested to see what people thought.
I know, they're all, they're all valid. It must have been hard for people to pick. All right, so here's your first question, Lorraine. What are the commitments of a mentor?
Well, if you're a mentor, then that basically means that you're the go-to person for the intern during the time that they're interning with us. So that means that you're providing guidance to them. They've already submitted a proposal with a timeline and a task list, so they already have an idea of what they need to achieve, but they need guidance to help them go through each of the items on their task list so that they can get to the end point. And as a mentor, your main job really is just to be there to guide them, to show them the way, to answer their questions, make suggestions. When they hit a sticking point, which quite often happens in any kind of development project, to provide them, based on your experience, some ideas of how they might overcome those obstacles. There's also some sort of housekeeping things that go alongside of that. So obviously I said in my talk that communication is key. So keeping in contact with your mentor regularly, and the weekly reports that the students produce, looking at those so that you can tell whether the progress is as you would expect, so you can pick up on when a student might need more training or a little bit more help. And the evaluations are sort of a culmination over a longer period of time of that process. So it's really just guiding them through their project and helping them and answering their questions when they need them. I apologize for the dogs barking in the background.
That's all right. Guest dogs are always welcome. So, Lorraine, I have a quick question for you just to kind of add on top of that. So these internships are generally through the summer, is that correct? So is there a time that they need to be available, or does the mentor get to say, I'm available from June to August, or how does that work?
Well, we have a main mentor and we have a backup mentor, and there are many reasons for having that in place. One is that, something can happen. That means that somebody is not able to continue being a mentor. So having a backup mentor who knows what's happening on the project is really useful, and it means that there is no break in that mentoring for the student. It also is hard over the summer months because people do go on vacation and have other commitments, and so the backup mentor is there to provide support during those times when the main mentor can't be around. But generally, being available doesn't necessarily mean being there in person either. As you've seen, a lot of our students work remotely, so sometimes it's just about being at the end of a phone.
Okay, perfect. It looks like here's another question. Do we offer any programs for high school students in Georgia? And I guess we could add to that, since interns are remote, could it be high school students anywhere?
Well, our program is open to high school students as well as university students. High school students are a slightly different case in that we tend to prefer high school students to come into an office. But that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be in an office in Boca Raton or Alpharetta, Georgia, which is where our two main offices are. There are LexisNexis offices in many different places that we can approach to try and accommodate having a student in the offices there. We have done that for some of our university students, actually, who haven't been located in those areas. The reason we suggest high school students come into the office is because it's most likely the first time that they have encountered the office environment, and they probably don't have as much experience as other people of dealing with that situation. And we have found that their experience is better from being amongst the people that they're working with and having that personal interaction. So that's why we do it that way for them.
All right. Thank you, Lorraine. It looks like we've got one person who put in a shout out for my alma mater at Georgia Tech, Go Yellow Jackets. So we're with you on that. Go Yellow Jackets. But, just to note, this is a wonderful program. If you have connections into your alma mater or any university, please share this intern program with them, as well as our academic program. I can say that our entire team is just so enthusiastic about our academic relationships, and so definitely please share this with your alma maters. We would love that. All right. So look at our questions from the audience. It looks like we've got a few of them in here, so you can prioritize those. And Bob, we're going to go ahead and start with the first one.
All right, yeah. Well, first of all, this is kind of the silly question. What movie did Detect Talk pay homage to? And the answer to that one was The Seven Faces of Dr. Lal. So that was one of those movies I saw as a kid, and just like when we saw 7 forms of loop, and, everybody that knows me knows that I get these crazy thoughts, and so that was my thought for the title there. Practically speaking, why should one use loop over the iterate function? Well, iterate is a different animal. It processes pairs of records. So loop, though, however, can loop through the entire record set on each loop and then perform all kinds of other things that are necessary. So iterate's just good for pairs, left and right, left and right, left and right, where loop's iterations process the entire record set on each iteration if you need to do that. Let's see, what else do we have here? What types of real-world examples would be good for using loop? Well, you know what? That is a great question, and I'm going to maybe put something together like that. I think that to do some kind of a search engine where you're passing in some kind of parameter to the loop function and you parse out, the thing that comes to mind to me is like doing an inverted index search where you can pass a number of words into a loop function, and of course you can control the amount of how many iterations it takes based on the amount of words, and then the loop body can process the search into your inverted index. And I mentioned project being one way to do things, but you could possibly also write the function to pass it the search parameters and then bang against the data set and then produce a join output if you wanted to do that. So that's something I'm thinking of, a real-world example of using loop. And I've seen other people use other things, and also machine learning. I think if you search the machine learning libraries, I think they also use extensive use of the loop functions. You do progressive iteration. So each cycle, the machine learns more and more and more and gets smarter during the algorithm. All right. Let's see. Are there any plans for additional changes? Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, like I said, we definitely are going to talk about going into other parts of the language that have been we listen to people, and your voice is important to us. So someone mentioned process. Maybe doing some enhanced examples on process. Some people mentioned maybe looking at graph again and looking at the options of graph and some of the other functions that are in there. And hey, your suggestions are important. If you want to email me directly, you can see my email address right there, and then myself and Richard and Jim DeFabia will all discuss it and work on improving documentation. All right, so I think that's it. Jessica?
All right, awesome. So we're going to look at your last poll question really quick. Your question was, now that you've seen a peek at the new and improved loop documentation, where can you get it? So 10% said Language Reference Manual, version 7.0.6. 20% said the ECL IDE, 7.0.6 HTML help. And 70% said both of the above. And the answer is, Bob?
Yeah, both of the above, definitely. So 7.06, and by the way, that's the cool thing about our GitHub and the way that the documentation now being on GitHub. Anytime a version gets upgraded, so does the documentation. So when you now download the PDF for the Language Reference Manual for 7.0-6, you're also, when you install the ECL IDE for 7.0.6, also get the updated HTML help for that very same version. They're always in sync now, and that's a very good thing.
Thank you, Bob. Always informative. Thank you very much for putting this together for us today.
All right, my pleasure.
All right, so Lorraine, if you're still with us, we're going to zip back to your question. Which was, much has been made of the gender gap in the technology industry. Take a guess at what the gender mix was in our intern program for 2018. So 47% said 6 male, 4 female, which I think actually was what we had in the picture of the poster presenters, if I'm not mistaken. 17% said 5 male and 5 female. 29% said 7 male and 3 female. And 5% said 9 male and 1 female. All right, Lorraine, what's our answer?
Well, the answer was 6 male, 4 female, so 47% of you guessed correctly. The picture wasn't entirely accurate, actually, Jessica, because some of our students weren't on that picture, but it's kind of interesting that the ratio may have looked the same. It's also interesting that our intern program does not necessarily, or certainly in 2018, is not particularly reflective of what may be happening in the tech industry as a whole, in that we had, quite a few females on our program, and it wasn't orchestrated that way. That number just came out at me one day as I was looking through the list, and it's really lovely that we have an almost even split. So I want to encourage students out there to apply to our internship regardless of your gender, because we take everybody onto this program without taking any of those sorts of things into consideration.
All right, thank you so much, Lorraine. So here we are at the end of episode 20. Please submit a talk for an upcoming episode. We have our next one is coming on February 21st. It should be really interesting. We've got, if I remember correctly, we've got Adwait Joshi from Data Seers joining us, and we have Yanuri Ma from our development team joining us. So that should be a wonderful episode. Go ahead and mark your calendars. Yes?
That's good. I'm sorry, it's Bob. There was a late question that came in, and I just wanted to mention that. Am I back in Alpharetta?
Sure, go ahead.
The question was, am I back in Alpharetta soon teaching a class? And the answer is yes. The day after the Super Bowl, we have our introduction classes starting on February 4th. So even if you don't plan to attend the class, come by to the training room and say hi. So, yeah, I will be in Alpharetta the second or first week in February. Thank you.
Fantastic, Bob. Thanks for interrupting there and answering that question. All right. So, other than February, we're looking for speakers. So please reach out to us if you have a success story, a new use case, a new bundle, anything that you would like to demo, tips. Reach out to us, techtalks@htccsystems.com, and please do visit the wiki afterwards. Lorraine maintains that, and she's got all sorts of rich information about Tech Talks as they're coming up, as well as those in the past, so you can always access that resource. And thank you very much for joining us today. We're glad you were able to come. Thank you.